Through the radio, Jesse hears Gray's SOS, "Don't board the cruise ship." Unfortunately, the signal is jammed. Jesse reaches the deck, stunned by Lisa's body as grim party decoration. Having faced countless deaths, Lisa cowers in the corner like a frightened kitten as Jesse approaches. Jesse isn't here to hurt her. Jesse sheds his jacket to help stop the bleeding, only to hear the sounds of a wild brawl. Shocked, he looks over and sees Jesse 2.0 turning -1 into fish bait with a fire axe before tossing the body into the ocean. Jesse checks only he finds she's as lively as a soggy cardboard box, leaving him once again as the lone survivor, while his companions are frantically calling for help. Realizing comrades turn into kebabs mean another reset, Jesse rushes towards the cruise ship. Comrades on board, the cruise ship now has 3 Jesses: Main Pov, Jesse 2.0, Lost Jesse 3.0. To break the cycle, Jesse tries to shut down the ship's engine, realizing it's as pointless as trying to shave with water from the pool. Finally, he realizes the cycle ends if his pals don't board. So Jesse decides to become the Master Avenger. So he plans to take out all of his shipmates to ensure the new ones feel utterly panicked, but let's just skip past that. Striding into room 237, what a hairy situation. He uses Nick's blood to scribble a note to the theatre. After tossing all the bodies into the sea, he then darts to the dining room, rallying the new couple, Nick and his wife, together at the theatre. Jesse decides to put on a mask and unleash an unkind slaughter among the next wave of new pals. He targets solo Gray, only to find Gray recognizes him by Shu's hint from the crew. Gray fails to grasp Jesse's explanation, and Jesse just keeps firing at the new couple, Nick and his wife. Changing bullets, Jesse lets third Jesse escape. On deck, third Jesse revenge kills him. Main POV Jesse plunges into the sea with the camera trailing him down. The scene shifts to a beach, where the masked man's clothes float along the waves. Jesse is jolted awake by a wave, but remember, he hasn't broken the cycle. He's merely temporarily checked. Guided by national memories, he bolts towards home, finally arriving back at his familiar little town. Peeking through the window, he sees his son diligently painting, suddenly hearing that familiar voice. It's like time travel. This scene mirrors his moment at the dock before departing, watching the other self scolding his son. As his son spots Jesse outside, he knocks over paint. Hearing the yelling, Jesse resignedly presses the doorbell. Jesse's hand goes into a spasm of excitement when the other self checks outside. It's just a ghost town. Clenching a wolf's head, Jesse storms into the house but is caught by his son. He comforts the boy. "Don't worry, that was just a nightmare." Jesse then stuffs the bodies into a suitcase, loads it into the car, and hastily rushes with his son to the dock. On the way, Jesse assures his son he will never yell at him again, only to accidentally run over an albatross. Jesse quickly hops out to examine it, planning to toss the dead albatross to the roadside, only to realize this act confirms the cycle isn't broken. Spotting countless dead albatrosses by the road, Jesse panics and jumps back into the car, speeding toward the dock. But when his son spots blood and starts sobbing, a tragic accident occurs, drawing curious onlookers. Ultimately, it's found that the mother and son tragically succumb to the car crash, while Jesse silently observes from the sidelines. Jesse asks a passing driver if he wants a lift. The driver agrees to take him to the dock, thinking, when will this cycle of revenge? Upon reaching the dock, Jesse meets Victor, who asks about his son. After a moment of hesitation, Jesse finally says, "Oh, he's faced with pleading Gray." Jesse, guilt-ridden, hugs him tight and apologizes. The score rises. The crew starts the infinite loop anew. And that wraps up the entire movie. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button next time. Now let's talk about the movie's finer details, which hide plenty of hints about Jess's demise. For instance, room 237 on the cruise is Jess's home address. Everyone else's time is 11:30, Jess's is stuck at 8:17. And Jesse finds himself alone in the dining room, fresh ingredients turn rotten, and the music playing on the cruise is the same tune he hears by the roadside. The symbols on Jess's home's wall match those by the roadside, and even the shape of his blood mirrors the one in the crash. These details are enough to prove his death. Everything is just his subconscious. The recurring albatrosses in the film symbolize comrades lost at sea. For sailors, the albatross has even evolved into a symbol of death, and Jess's murals feature the albatross pattern. Besides the crushed albatross, his appetite for feasting on corpses seeps death vibes everywhere. The film is titled ELS, after the legend of the Greek wind god Aeolus once deceived Death. He was punished to push a boulder to the mountain top, only for that boulder to roll back down when it reached the top. Hence, he was doomed to repeat. The taxi driver represents Death. Jesse had promised to say goodbye to his friends before returning to the car, but he deceived Death, so he was punished by an endless loop on the cruise. According to clues in the film, Jessie is a single mother. She works as a waitress at a restaurant where Gray falls for her at first sight and invites her on a sailing trip. Unfortunately, a car crash occurs en route, and when Death approaches, Jessie chooses to keep sailing. On the yacht, she forgets the accident due to her dream. Her subconscious believes her son is just at school, mirroring the Greek wind god's tale. Cheating Death leads to punishment, resulting in Jesse endlessly looping on the cruise until he dives into the sea, convinced he's broken the cycle.